News at 5:30 starts right now.
Less than an hour ago, an urgent Amber Alert came out of Bandera County. Deputies need your help finding a 15-year-old girl they say was abducted early Thursday morning. This is Savannah Cardenas. She was last seen around 6 a.m. at the Vineyard Shopping Center on the far north side, just off Loop 1604 and Blanco. Texas DPS is looking for a woman about 45 to 50 years old involved in Savannah's disappearance. That woman driving a silver Ford Fusion, last seen in San Antonio. DPS says Savannah is in grave danger, so if you see her or know where she is, please call the Bandera County Sheriff's Office at 830-796-3771. That number also posted on our website. Well, San Antonio police were investigating a drive-by shooting early this morning when they found 5 migrants that were victims of a human smuggling operation. Those shots were fired just before 2 this morning in the 900 block of South Walter Street that's on the inner east side. When police got there, they found a 24-year-old man had been hurt, and while investigating, they found a 17-year-old migrant in a nearby pickup truck that had been grazed in that shooting. Inside the truck were also 4 other migrants. Both the teen and that man were taken to the hospital to get checked out. Now police are looking for the shooting suspects and the person involved in smuggling those migrants. All 5 migrants were taken to the city's Migrant Resource Center. And human smuggling is top of mind today here in San Antonio. Today marks 2 years since 53 migrants were killed after being trapped in a sweltering tractor trailer off Quintana Road. Right now, a permanent memorial is in the works. And on the Night Beat, make sure you check in with us. We're going to catch you up on the memorial's progress and the meaning behind it. Now to Round Rock, where 2 people are dead and 4 more hurt after shots were fired at a Juneteenth concert last night. 2 of those shooting victims are children. Round Rock Police Chief Alan Banks says it happened in the vendor area of the venue. Violence erupted after 2 groups started arguing. Unfortunately, Banks added those people shot were just innocent bystanders.
It breaks your heart. It breaks your heart for a family that was coming out to enjoy their evening, and now their life is forever changed as a result of somebody who could care less about somebody else's life.
No arrests have been made, and the FBI is assisting in the investigation.
All right, taking a look outside with live cam. We've seen plenty of sunshine out there this afternoon. Courtney, I know it's Father's Day. A lot of folks have been out and about, and it's definitely been one to keep the sunscreen and the water bottle handy.
Yes, I believe there was some outdoor activity at our house, and we had it layered.
There you go. That's good, and that's exactly what you should be doing out there this afternoon. We are going to notice some changes, though, looking ahead to the upcoming work week when it comes to increasing tropical moisture and also some better rain chances that could come along with that. Take a look at the latest forecast here. Sure, a couple of isolated storms, especially across the coastal plains and southeast of San Antonio, will be possible tomorrow and Tuesday, but we've bumped Wednesday and Thursday up to a 60% chance to find some times of scattered tropical downpours. And that all is going to come from this disorganized, as of right now, area of activity that you see approaching the Yucatan Peninsula. This is a tropical disturbance. It's going to be moving into the southwestern Gulf of Mexico over the next couple of days. The National Hurricane Center now giving it a 70% chance for tropical development into at least a tropical depression. Regardless on if that happens, though, what we're going to be monitoring here at home is how far north does the tropical moisture associated with that system move into South Texas. We are expecting some of that even here locally by Wednesday and into Thursday, which is why some scattered downpours will be possible. It's still a little too early for exact rainfall totals. We need that system to get over the warm, open waters of the southwestern Gulf, but still that's going to be something to check back in on here over the next couple of days. As of right now, this is currently what looks possible, around 1 to 3 inches of rain closer to San Antonio. Unfortunately, not as much as you head up into the hill country in the southern Edwards Plateau. Rainfall totals up to an inch possible there, but the higher totals do look to be situated, of course, closer to the Gulf Coast. So again, this is going to be something that we continue to fine tune over the next couple of days as we get more reliable data in. So continue to check back with us on that. Plan to keep the umbrella handy by Wednesday and Thursday, though. Not really needing it out there right now here in town. 99 degrees, feeling like 104. It'll be a little breezy if you're stepping out for any Sunday evening plans, maybe some dinner time plans with Dad. Taking a look at your KSAT 12-hour forecast for your Monday, starting off near 76. 87, 89 degrees at noon, a high temperature around 97 expected by this time tomorrow, with an isolated storm not off the table. Once again, more of the same into Tuesday. By the way, Courtney, if we do see those tropical downpours move in by midweek, notice your temperatures a bit cooler in the mid to upper 80s.
Love to see those 80s. All right, thank you, Mia. Well, Juneteenth is just a few days away, and ever since 1865, it's been a day to celebrate freedom. The enslaved people of Texas were the last to hear about the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years earlier. Our Jesse DeGollado has done a deep dive on the subject, and in this first story explains that without an agricultural economy like East Texas and the Deep South, slavery was super prevalent here in Bexar County.
So this one is in...
Before Lucy Adame Clark became Bexar County clerk.
I didn't even know that slavery existed as much as it did in Bexar County.
A map shows nearly 30% of Bexar County's population was enslaved, less than that of East Texas.
But there was still a lot of people being sold here, and that's still an important thing to know.
Slave over there as a name.
The freedom exhibit that Raven Correa helped organize bears the proof, including bills of sale for human beings.
I didn't realize some of the influential people that were buying slaves.
One display shows the prominent Tejano, Jose Antonio Navarro, had as many as 9, likely for domestic work.
They're mostly young women.
Old handwritten records show less than a handful of slaves were sold at a time. Some were paid, but a portion of that money went to their owners if they were shared among other plantations. Historian Mario Salas believes the San Antonio area had 42 plantations at one time.
Wherever there was a creek, there was a slave plantation.
Next year, we're looking for these plantations.
They'll be cross-referencing the many maps and deed records in the Bexar County Archive.
So once everything's released and digitized, we are looking forward to see what else we can learn.
Jesse DeGollado, KSAT 12 News.
Still ahead, what one couple is doing to preserve the history of the land they bought, not knowing the history it held when they bought it. We are continuing to prepare for Juneteenth and honor the history, and we aren't the only ones. Jesse introduces us to a couple who unknowingly bought an ex-slave plantation. When they found out, they decided to honor and preserve its history.
Drivers speeding by may not even notice the 2-story house, yet its wide porches seem to beckon visitors. Sit a while and enjoy the breeze at historic Whitehall Poly Mansion. A retired military couple, Keith and Robin Michalek, had already bought a home nearby when they saw this in 2014.
We did not know what this building was. We thought it was a dance hall.
Everything was in a state of dilapidation.
And I said, I'll come back to Texas if this could be our retirement project.
Old house, like it, let's fix it up. We had a lot of energy like 6 years ago.
Robin Michalek says it made perfect sense.
We've always loved old houses. We love history. We love community. We love antiques.
It certainly took plenty of both love and energy to take on decades of neglect.
It took a year and a half just to pick up trash.
There were 6 abandoned cars. Luckily, the previous owner took most of them with him.
But by then, they'd begun to uncover what time had seemingly forgot.
Oh my goodness, this is a historic gem.
Says so on the historic marker. The house was built in the late 1840s by Joseph Pauly, one of the original settlers brought to Texas by Stephen F. Austin. Yet what it doesn't say.
If you read that marker, you would have no clue that this was a slave plantation.
Yet it should, says Michalek, to reflect the reality of the Cibolo Valley in what was then a part of Bexar County. Plantations were drawn to Cibolo Creek as a source of water for their cotton or other crops, even cattle. Joseph Pauly's would be among the first of many to come.
Cotton planters came from Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and the Carolinas, intending to establish plantations in the image of the South.
Nearly 40 parcels along Cibolo Creek identified by LostTexasRoads.com show where the plantations were, who owned them, and how many were enslaved.
And Polly's just one. He's a medium-sized plantation of 20 or so slaves.
About a third were like the Polly's plantation, says the website's creator, historian Alan Cosson. He says the Cibolo Valley was as far as the plantations made it into the U.S. and one of the last places in the country where slavery existed.
So the significance of the Polly plantation and the other plantations along the Cibolo is significant.
And we want to make sure that's part of the history we tell of the house.
A part worth telling is about one of the rooms off of the breezeways that go down the middle of the house. It's the bedroom where it said Robert E. Lee slept when he was a U.S. Army colonel before the Civil War.
If that's true, that's incredible.
The cookhouse is right there, so the enslaved people would bring the food from there to here.
Along with artifacts and antiques the Moshaliks acquired for what's become a museum, they also found Joseph Polly's will.
Having each one Negro girl slave in their profession, giving an enslaved person to one of his daughters, each of his daughters, they get to choose.
Joseph Polly is buried in the small family cemetery across the road from the mansion, leaving the Moshaliks to wonder.
Where are the graves of the enslaved that die?
African slaves were no longer property to be considered as wealth.
And what about after emancipation?
Where did they go? And we're finding all these freedmen colonies. Dozens of them are around us. We just want to know more about the enslaved people.
And this was this house. Wow.
Visiting the Polly Mansion for the first time, Pastor Ray Warren was surprised to see, among the enslaved identified so far, there they were, his wife's ancestors.
And their last name is right here, the Niases. Hers is right here. Right here. So yeah, I got some news for her.
A revelation that began with the couple's curiosity.
People don't meet us without hearing about this house.
And all the work they put into it for visitors to tour and learn.
We believe it's the first Thanksgiving in this room in 1854. A lot of this history would have been lost had we not preserved the house. This house will stand here easily for another 100 years. That's our contribution to the history of the great state of Texas.
In Wilson County, Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
Still ahead, historians are finding there's a lot more to San Antonio than the Alamo. Coming up after the break, the freedom seekers who fled their enslavers that were caught, jailed, and many of them sold in what's now Main Plaza. Now we move to one of our history untold stories, the freedom seekers who came through San Antonio to reach Mexico and in many cases were brought here by the so-called slave catchers. If their enslavers could not be found, they were sold on the steps of the old courthouse. Jesse says new findings by local researchers have piqued the interest of the National Park Service.
The people gathered behind City Hall stand near a little-known site in San Antonio's history.
San Antonio plays this role in collecting enslaved freedom seekers and trying to return them to bondage or auctioning them off to some other enslaver if they can't find their original so-called master.
They didn't make it to the Rio Grande and the ferry ride to freedom in Mexico, where slavery was outlawed. One of them was Rhoda, a pregnant young woman disguised as a man who'd wanted her child born free. Instead, an old newspaper clipping says Rhoda gave birth behind bars in what was called the Bat Cave. The two-story building was the city jail and city hall next to the courthouse in what became Military Plaza. There's any number of historical markers in and around downtown, but none describing the fate of freedom seekers and San Antonio's role in the slave trade.
You have to acknowledge both the good and the bad. So we have to look at both sides of history.
St. Mary's history major Jaden Evans, as well as other young historians at the San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum, say they're turning up new findings in their research.
State archives, county archives, federal archives, Spanish archives, Mexican archives, to wind up documenting that full history.
This opens a whole new chapter of history that is not well known, says STACAM Executive Director Deborah Omawali-Jarman in her statement. They say San Antonio's role in the flight to freedom could lead to historical designations by the National Park Service and federal funding to help increase awareness.
By sharing the full inclusive history of our country's shared heritage.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
All right, did you know that Mission San Jose was once used to help people escape slavery in the South? After the break, what else we're learning about the untold history of Mission San Jose? Already a World Heritage Site, one of the San Antonio missions has an added distinction, a connection to the Underground Railroad network to Mexico. Keep in mind that Texas was still part of Mexico back then. Jesse Degollado tells us more about the untold history of Mission San Jose that just recently came to light.
Little do many know, the venerable Queen of San Antonio's missions played a role in the flight of freedom seekers fleeing slavery in the South.
I think it changes a lot about what we think about the missions, not just about the missions, but this larger picture of what enslavement was like in San Antonio.
A city described in an article as a city of blood, chivalry, followed by a common racial slur, and there met with aid and comfort. Published in 1854, it says Colonel James Bowie had tipped off slave catchers that 2 of a handful of freedom seekers from Louisiana had taken refuge at Mission San Jose in 1833.
The slave catchers showed up at one of the mission gates when they were met by gunfire from the Mexican army, trying to protect the freedom seekers who were inside the mission.
A slave catcher who was wounded ended up in the city jail. As the article says, a chained inmate in the old calaboose of San Antonio. Tourists here told of the incident nearly 200 years ago.
I think it was very brave that they wanted to protect them.
The soldiers here that day were enforcing Mexico's outlawing of slavery. Besides, Mission San Jose was a sacred place that offered freedom seekers sanctuary.
Empathetic, compassionate people who took them in and helped them.
Mission San Jose also was mentioned in an 1859 advertisement, offering up to $200 for the capture of 2 freedom seekers. It says there they had some acquaintance with Mexicans who could help them off to Mexico. Both accounts are part of the reason why the National Park Service has recognized Mission San Jose and its role in the network to freedom and the Underground Railroad.
Freedom seeking and resistance to slavery through escape and flight.
Here and perhaps at other missions as well.
We're just now scratching the surface on the history of freedom seekers in San Antonio.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
Still ahead, extending their reach. One of San Antonio's oldest news outlets reflects on decades of telling stories that would otherwise go unnoticed. Historically, even the smallest newspapers have been considered the voice of the African American community. There have been several on the east side over the years, but there's still a free weekly out every Wednesday that's still around. Jesse says the San Antonio Observer has a harder news edge, keeping readers coming back.
The front page cover stories grab your attention. Just exactly what the San Antonio Observer wants.
You're not going to be heard unless you're loud in some way, shape, or form.
Imagery is the hook, says its editor and publisher Stephanie Zarello and her husband Wasim Ali. His father, the late Hussein Ali, started the San Antonio Observer in his garage nearly 30 years ago. But unlike other East Side community newspapers,
nobody was really talking about politics.
The San Antonio Observer took on politics and controversy with headlines like, "I'm scared," after a rash of police shootings on the East Side back then.
Did he face any backlash as a result?
Oh my God, yeah.
A little setback, it's like a slingshot. We get set back, but we'll get shot forward at some time. We just have to be patient.
One of their regular columnists, historian Mario Salas, says after all, they owe it to their readers.
Black media creates a network of people that want to know what's going on but may not pick it up anywhere else but that newspaper.
I think that they know the Observer still has their back. If nobody else will, let me call the Observer.
Yet long before the Observer was first published in 1995.
This bus bench still says register in stylized letters, the predecessor of the San Antonio Observer.
The Alis bought the San Antonio Register, first published in 1931, but no longer in circulation. Much of the focus now, the online version of the San Antonio Observer, extending its reach beyond the East Side community.
You know, it's designed to open everybody's minds, to give you a different perspective.
Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
And before you go, check out all of our Juneteenth and Black History stories by heading to our website, KSAT.com. Don't forget to join us this Wednesday for our Juneteenth coverage, and we'll see you back here tonight at 10.